Hello and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons 101. My name is Owen and welcome to our third and final episode on character creation. I know it's been a bit of a long journey, but we are almost done. So today we're going to be talking about flavor and background and all that sort of extra stuff that you can add onto your characters. So, we're back with our character Just Zook, our level 1 monk, 4th gnome. And so today we shall use the Handy Dandy Player's Handbook to expand upon our character. This will mainly include adding a background, which is this section of the character sheet, which is kind of important, and then we're going to add a bit of flavor on. And this is mainly important for, especially when you've created a character that you have an idea for, right? What's your character like? Where did they grow up? How tall are they? And all that sort of extra stuff. So, first thing that the player's handbook does when we talk about personality and background is it says, come up with a name. So we did. We have our guys Just Zook, and I picked a male name for Zook. Zook's a male gnome name. So you know what? We're gonna make him a male. Now on the character sheet there are 3 pages. This is the default one. Different character sheets look a bit different, but mainly you have your main page with all the general information about your character, which we will fill out a bit of here. But there is also an expanded sheet, which is all about this kind of information, right? So again, we have our character is called Just Zook, because he is the only Zook. There is also one more page, which is about magic. We're not talking about magic here and how spells work, really. So that'll be in another video. We're just going to ignore this part of the sheet because remember, Zook is a monk. So how old is Zook? Gnomes live to be pretty old. They come to maturity at the age of 40, or at least in the book, right? If your world has some other different way, you pick whatever age. I could make him 2 if we really wanted to, but let's make him 30. Yeah, so Zook is male. He's 30. The player's handbook has this handy dandy table, which I wonder if you can see because I'm going to have trouble trying to edit this in right here with all the different races that they recommend, their base height, and then this is for randomly generating height and weight. That seems reasonable for your characters. Mind you, there are other sources online that you can find. I remember finding one a while ago, so I will put one of those in the description if I remember to after I'm done editing all this. So, just based off this ad-libbing it, we're a gnome. Their base height is at the shortest. They're about 2'11", to almost 3'1". So we're just gonna using the sheet. We roll a 2d4, which is this lovely dice. Now, mind you, you don't need to use this random sheet, just so you're aware. But I find it useful for finding references at least. So if I already know I want my character's height to be this, then I can find an approximate appropriate weight for them using it. So I roll my d4. Zook is a very big gnome. I got a total of 8, which is the biggest it can be. So that means he's going to be about 3'7". You might notice that we have a lot of Imperial units. That is because Dungeons & Dragons was created in the USA. And so all of their stuff is in imperial units, miles, feet, inches, etc. Since I had 8 on my height, I'm a gnome, we multiply that by 1 and then add it. So that will give me a weight of 43 pounds. You know what? I don't want to stick with that. I'm gonna make him. Let's make him a bit bigger. 45 pounds. Okay, we're gonna make his eyes. Let's make them red. Yeah, metal. His hair will also be. Oh no, his hair, his skin color. I'm gonna go with like lightly orangey. Uh, I'm envisioning Donald Trump style, like Donald Trump's kind of skin color. I don't know why. Like back when he was very spray tanned. Um, Hair color, we're going to also make it red. Because why not? So what else do they talk about? Other physical characteristics. Well, we just did that. Alignment. Oh, this is fun. So we're going to come back up to the main sheet. This is kind of important. Dungeons and Dragons sort of defines the moral philosophy of characters in these things called alignments. Now, personally, I kind of view alignments as a generalization and not an outcome because there's many ways to be, for example, lawful good. So I'm just going to quickly go through all the different alignments, how I kind of view them. People view them a bit differently. Um, the big ones that I'm going to definitely talk about are the evil ones and the chaotic neutral, because people misunderstand how that one works. So, without further ado, there's lawful good. Well, actually, first of all, before I talk about that, alignment is broken into two parts. There is the lawful to the chaotic scale, which goes lawful, neutral, chaotic, and that shows where you fall on that. The more lawful you are, the more you follow a code, the more important order and law is to you, and chaotic is more about freedom, um, not being bound by rules. And then we have good and evil, with neutral in the middle again, is the other part. So, good is mainly viewed just as like general good. It's usually you're a selfless person, and evil is a lot more selfish or don't care about other people. Neutral, again, fits in the middle between the two of them. So that gives us 9 different alignments. First of all, we have lawful good. Great example is Superman. Some people use Batman as an example as well. The idea is that this is a person who follows rules, your Boy Scouty kind of characters, although there are many ways to play lawful good. Okay? That's just to give you a general idea. Then we have normal good, neutral good. That's just your generally good person. Great. Awesome. Then we have chaotic good. Chaotic good, kind of think about Robin Hood. It's a common example, although he did kind of have some rules. Very loose, was okay breaking laws, breaking rules, that kind of thing. Then we come to lawful neutral. A lawful neutral character will just follow the law. The law is the most important thing. It doesn't matter if it's a good thing, it doesn't matter if it's a bad thing. If it hurts people or helps people, we must follow the law. Then we come to true neutral. True neutral is kind of weird. It's kind of just like if you didn't want to really put a stance on what your character's personality is, so a lot of people kind of avoid it, but there's some great ways to play neutral. I just want to take an example from here. From the book, they say that they are people who generally like to steer clear of moral questions and don't take sides. They pretty much, a neutral character will do whatever they think is best at any point in time. Which means they're kind of not reliable morally, to be either good or evil. Then we come to chaotic neutral. Chaotic neutral, also sometimes called chaotic stupid because people misinterpret how it's supposed to work, and treat it like you're chaotic evil, or at least neutral evil. So, chaotic neutral are people who put freedom above all else. They like being free. They cannot be held back, held in chains. That is pretty much how it works. It's also been described as being chaotic neutral characters are always insane. I don't really agree with that, but that is something to consider. So that's how chaotic neutral kind of fits in. They're mainly purely about freedom. It's okay to do good actions and bad actions. The idea is that they must be free. They cannot be held back by rules and laws, or they don't like rules and laws. Then we come down to lawful evil. Think the devil or devils, right? They still have rules. There's still order and organization, which is key. But they're also all about doing whatever is best for themselves. So that is lawful evil. Then we have neutral evil, which is just general evil, evil villain, wahahaha. You're a bad person, pretty much. You care about yourself only. And then we come to chaotic evil, um, which is commonly referred to as destroy everything. You just love violence, destruction, and pure chaos. That's the common interpretation of that. Of course, there's a lot of gray areas between these 9 different alignments, but that's just a quick overview of all of them. Now we're going to come to the next part. But before we do that, we're going to pick Zook's alignment, or just Zook's alignment. I'm thinking he is a monk. I don't really like playing evil characters, but let's make just Zook. We're gonna make him chaotic neutral. He doesn't like order. He likes being free, one with the wind, that kind of thing. Uh, he isn't, however, chaotic stupid, which means he acts like being an evil character. He's like, but it's because I don't want to follow rules. Yeah, okay. Yeah, don't be that person. There are certain ways that you can play that you should play chaotic neutral. There's a lot of ways you should not play chaotic neutral, or at least you know what, just officially declare yourself as an evil character. Anyways, I don't want to rant about that. We already have our languages, which is great. So now we can talk about personality traits. And these are over here: personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. These are commonly, this is just supposed to be a spot for you to put information down about your character that can help you role play the character. Flaws are things that are wrong with your character. Well, not wrong, really. They're weaknesses for your character. Um, and we'll go over, we won't go over them, but this can also cover like madness, that sort of stuff. Bonds are stuff that you really like or you're attached to or you do stuff for. Ideals are what you stand by. Commonly, they're based back to your alignment in some way, shape, or form. Personality traits, usually you want to write down two of these. These are just general features. Like one of my favorites in the book is for the Sage group, and it says it's recommended for backgrounds. So a lot of these are recommended by the backgrounds that you'll select, and we'll talk about those soon. But the one that I like that goes with the Sages, it goes ahead and says you talk very slowly to everyone because everyone is stupider than you. And that's how you actually can read it off the book. That's kind of just what those are. We'll go into those when we do our background because I'm going to take those from the background table. Okay, so a background is an extra feature that's just supposed to show some information about what your character did before they became an adventurer or began doing this kind of job where they are now, or is what they're currently doing as a job. If you're a member of a guild, you're a blacksmith, and then you went out and fought some monsters and you went back to being a blacksmith, your background will still be something guild related to blacksmiths. Now, they highly recommend making a custom background. A background, which means that you just need to cover some of the important pieces that come in a background. Usually, a background will have the following. You'll get two of different skills that you'll be proficient in that are related to your background. You will also get usually a language proficiency or a tool proficiency, or two of either of those. So what we will do is we'll use one of the pre-made backgrounds from here. Another thing I forgot to note is that backgrounds also come with a special feature that are commonly used for plot points. You'll see it when we give our character a background. And they're kind of important. They're generally useful. If you make a custom background, remember to talk about maybe what that feature will be with the DM, just so you get an idea of what this all kind of looks like. We're going to do one for just Zook. So he will be, so there's a few examples in here, right? There's Acolyte, which is, you were a priest. Charlatan, you were a charlatan. Criminal, again, you were a criminal. Entertainers, folk hero, guild artisan, hermit, noble, outlander, sage. You know what? So there's all these ones. I'm gonna make. I want one that. Yeah, you know what? Because the player's handbook recommends that monks are hermits, and he is just Zook, which means he is only gonna be by himself. He is only Zook, only by himself. We're gonna make him a hermit, or which means he was a hermit maybe before this, but now no longer is. So they give you some tips here, right? You were secluded for your life. What were you kind of doing? This is just to give you some prompts for your character, and maybe why you were a hermit. And then there are the things that they give us. So, as a hermit, we get proficiency in medicine checks and religion checks. Now, if we already had proficiency in medicine or religion, which we could have for religion, actually, I think for both, from being a monk, then we would have just selected another skill. So, what we also get is for our proficient object, item, etc., we get proficiency with a herbalism kit. Sometimes there are only two tools. Like, for example, if you had a soldier background, you get proficiency with like land vehicles and gaming kits. Yeah. But as a hermit, we get another language. Again, another example of having two sages get two languages. So with a hermit, we're a gnome. We speak common and gnomish. I want to speak, you know what? I want to speak uh, infernal. So infernal is the language of devils because why not? Speak to the devil himself and bribe him. So there we go. And then we're going to do personality traits. So they give you some tables here of 8 personality traits, 6 ideals, 6 bonds, 6 flaws. We're going to roll for those for our character. So, just to give you an idea of what these are like, let's roll our D8. So, you usually want 2 personality traits. So, we're just going to roll this. I got a 5. So, he is oblivious to etiquette and social norms. I'm going to probably misspell etiquette if I don't look at this. Yeah. Etiquette. Where did I put it? Etiquette. Oh dear. Oh, if I just stop, it'll tell me that no, it won't tell me I spelled it wrong. Okay. This video is all about Owen trying to learn how to spell. Oh, I accidentally removed the Q. Etiquette. There we go. And social norm. So that's 1. And our other one is going to be a 3. That one's too long for me to type in here. Okay, let's pick a different one. 2. I am utterly serene, even in the face of disaster. So, always calm, even in trouble. Yay. So I just put down because there is... Oh, it shrinks. That's so cool. Okay, well... in the face of disaster. Right, I usually do this by hand, which means I can always write the information in or around it. And I was worried that these weren't going to actually let me fit all the information in. That's pretty cool. So those are 2 personality traits for just Zook. And just also needs an ideal. So, because he's neutral, chaotic neutral, I'm going to ignore any of the traits in here that aren't related to chaos or neutrality. So that leaves me with only 3 options out of the 6 that I'm given in the book. So I'm going to roll and see which one I get using my handy dandy D6. I got the 3rd one. Self-knowledge. So his ideals is that if you know yourself, there's nothing left to know. That's pretty wise. Know yourself. There is nothing else to know. Yay. Pretty cool. A bond. So we should give him a bond. Now, again, I kind of want to create this myself. But yeah, you know what? We're going to give him a bond. His bond is going to be... You know what? He left his family for the greater good. And all he does is to protect them. So you'll make him a family man. That's his important thing. So this is gold for a dungeon master, because a DM will probably threaten your family. Personally, I wouldn't kill off the family because there's so much better stuff you can do with a family that's in danger than one that's dead. But all this information is awesome for your dungeon master, for building the game and also developing your character. Right? Nobody likes a static character. Nobody reads books with static. Well, people do, but people don't usually like the books that have static characters inside them. So it's always good to be dynamic. Now we're gonna give him a flaw. I'm gonna roll for this one. I got a 5. Huh. Okay, I had this with one of my characters before. So he'd risk too much to uncover a lost bit of knowledge. This is exactly what I put down for my latest character, Vern. Yeah. So this is his flaw, which means, right, if the DM says, "Oh, you know what? You found information about this secret file that nobody's ever heard of." Well, that's awesome. He's going to go after that, but he might risk the life of his party to get to it no matter what, or even his own life. So that is, again, DM gold. But it's also really great for how you're going to want to play your character. These give you some hints. What else we kind of need to talk about is his feature. So, as a hermit, we get this feature called Discovery, which says, the quiet seclusion of your extended hermitage gave you access to a unique and powerful discovery. The exact nature of this revelation depends on the nature of your seclusion. It might be a great truth about the cosmos, the deities, the powerful beings of the outer planes, or the forces of nature. It could be a sight that no one else has ever seen. You might have uncovered a fact that has long been forgotten or unearthed some relic of the past that might rewrite history. It might be information that could be damaging to the people or consigned you to exile. Oh, there's a typo in the book. Damaging to people or consigned you to exile. Huh. Oh, that was my bad. The hence of Oh, I don't have a good enough editing system, so this is going to be in the video anyways. Pretty much work with your DM to determine this detail. So this is a feature that, as a hermit, you automatically know something fancy that nobody else knows. It's hidden knowledge. Other examples of features is the Outlander feature, which says you can, in the wilderness, just scavenge for food and find food, which means you don't need to buy food, which is awesome. So just because, why not? We're going to say that I'm going to bullet hermit stuff. Zook knows the gods are fake in his world, that there are no gods actually, or there are pretenders who pretend to be gods. So that is Zook for us. Now, there's a bit more that we need to do. I feel like this is going on forever, but I know it isn't. Or maybe it is. I can't actually see my recording. Next thing we have to cover is equipment, very quickly, and then we are done with our character. So, there are a few ways to do equipment. Either you can take the default packs from both your class and your background. If you selected a pre-generated background, and if you didn't, then you ask your DM for general stuff that you can have. Or you go ahead and you roll some dice, get some money, and then we buy some stuff. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to hopefully do it quickly because Luke is a monk, which means he's not going to need a lot of stuff. So as a monk, we roll, usually the classes give you roll a d for a certain amount of time and you multiply that by 10, right? So for example, a fighter uses 5 of these and multiplies that value by 10. As a monk, we just roll 5 of these and that's it. So we will probably be dirt poor. Let's see, I got a 2. 2, so that gives us 4. Another 2, 6. 4, that gives us 10. We got one more. 1. Yay! Okay, so we got 11 gold pieces. That's pretty bad. But we will get along with that. We don't need any armor. If we had armor, then we would change our armor classes based on the armor that we had. But we aren't getting armor, so we're not going to talk about that. I'm not going to buy a weapon because he doesn't really need a weapon. Well, maybe he will. We'll see. We're going to buy him gear beforehand. So, there are things called adventuring kits. Yeah, adventuring kits, explorer's kit. And these are kind of packages of a bunch of equipment from the book that are cheaper than buying all the stuff. So you could buy, a barrel, a bedroll, tinder, and all that stuff, or you could just buy an explorer's pack. And by buying the explorer's pack, it's actually a bit cheaper. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend 10 gold pieces to buy ourselves an explorer's pack. There are different types of packs, by the way. The ones that they have are burglar's pack, which are mainly thief-based tools and items. A diplomat's pack, which are kind of, again, nobility, more diplomatic, again, nicer clothing and such. That pack. There's also a Dungeoneer's pack, which is based around going into dungeons, kind of self-explanatory. Entertainer's pack, again, self-explanatory. Explorer's pack is different than a Dungeoneer's pack. An Explorer's pack is more above ground. Dungeoneer's pack is more for below ground. For example, the Explorer's pack comes with... it doesn't come with a tent. I thought it did. It comes with a few different items. It doesn't come with a lamp. Yeah. Because the lamp is required by the Dungeoneers to go underground and, see, as well as torches and such. There's a priest pack. Again, priestly-based stuff. And a scholar's pack, scholarly stuff. I'm not going to go into too much detail if you're really interested. You can find all this stuff on D&D Beyond. Anyways, by having the Explorer's pack, we spent 10 gold pieces because it is the cheapest pack possible, which leaves us with 1 gold piece. So we could keep this, or we could spend it with the Explorer's pack. We did not get any clothing, which means we are currently buck naked. It's going great. However, we can spend our last gold piece to get some robes. So we have no money. We've got an explorer's pack, we got some robes, and we have our super awesome, powerful punching fists. And that is our equipment. I didn't even have enough to buy myself a pack. You can buy containers, backpacks, tools, kits, gaming sets, musical instruments, all that jazz. There's even costs for having how much is a camel. There's all this beautiful stuff in this book, so it's worth getting. Again, Player's Handbook if you're really interested, but if you aren't that interested or just getting into it, check out D&D Beyond. Or there's also a D&D wiki page that I put in the bottom of the second video, and I'm going to put in the bottom of this one as well. Again, really cool, well worth checking out. Finally, there's also costs for food in here and services, but we are going to use the trinket table at the back of the equipment section. So what is a trinket? A trinket is a little small item that might have some personal connection to your character. It's always good to have something like this because it connects to your character. What happens if your character loses it? Maybe it's a plot point for the DM for later. There are 100 trinkets in the Player's Handbook. There are probably more online. You could come up with your own. It's always good to give your character some random useless knickknack that isn't really worth anything, but might be important to them or have some interesting plot significance. So what we're going to do is we're just going to roll for one for our friend Zook before we finish off his character. And I got a 50. So that means that we have a whistle made of gold-colored wood. That's pretty cool. So I can already, as a dungeon master, think of a few reasons that, like, a few uses for this. Maybe it is a key to a door, and you must blow the whistle to open a door, and it's only a certain door, maybe a fade door, because it's a wooden whistle, not a metal whistle. It could just be an item that they love. Maybe this was a child toy that they had, and all they have left of their family, right? We already mentioned that Luke left his family, which means he might not have anything left of them except for this little whistle that his mother or his father crafted for him before he went away, and maybe they say, you know what, blow it twice and we will come and help you if you really need us. Or that's what they told him when he was little, and of course it doesn't actually do that, but he still holds on to it sentimentally. Again, lots that you can do with these kind of neat little items. And that should be all that we've got. We already talked about multiclassing last time. We're not going to cover feats. And yeah, so that is the end of our 3-part series on character creation. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you're enjoying what we do, remember to subscribe, like. There's a little bell down there that you can hit, and that will give you notifications whenever we post videos. We usually post twice a week. This week we are posting a bit more than usual because we wanted to kind of wrap up this little series. We have a Dungeons and Dragons campaign series that if you are interested you can listen to, called Not Presently Deceased, as I DM that group through a number of different shenanigans and strange situations as they explore a frontier continent. There are also going to probably be some upcoming videos more around this. So if you're interested again in getting into Dungeons and Dragons, you can always hit the bell, get the notifications for when we are going to be posting these Intro to D&D, D&D 101 videos. And again, I hope to see you next time. I'm Owen Dara. Remember to also, I forgot this again, we have an Instagram page and a Twitter page, so I will put those links in the description. Remember to follow those, and have a lovely day.